Hey, this is Dave. Thanks for watching Cross Current TV. Today we're going to tie a streamer pattern called the honey badger. He's a vicious little thing, so we're going to get started with some of the materials we use. I've been really liking these articulated shanks. Before that, I was usually just end up using 2 hooks and end up cutting the barb off of one of them or the shank off of one of them. So these things are really cool. They ride true every single time in the water. For the body, basically just use some kind of pearlescent chenille type material. Firewire, 30 pound for the trailing hook. 2 types of Magnum rabbit hair, yellow and white. Saltwater crinkle flash, really catches the light good. These really cool sculpin helmets, whatever color thread you want. I use yellow. The shank I'm putting on here is a 35mm shank. They make them a size smaller and a size larger as well. So seems like the middle range one seems to be good for these type of flies. Usually tie it in about 3.5, 4 inches long or so when it's done. Now you can actually hook your hook onto these shanks by just threading it on. I usually use the firewire because I like to make my trailer hook a little bit longer. So if you're not going to actually put a hook on there, you actually end up just tying the thread right around it, keeping it closed. This kind of does 2 things too. When you finally put your firewire on here, you just run it on each side of this shank here, and it keeps your hook right and true. It almost kind of acts like a keel. Here's our firewire. So like I said, run one side on one side of it. Figure out about how long your hook wants the tail behind there. I usually go about that, and then run the firewire on the other side of that little keel. Now to make it a little bit more secure, you can put some glue on there, or epoxy or whatever you want to hold that that firewire in place so it doesn't slip. You know, I figure if you just go around it a few times with the thread, I haven't had any problems with them slipping, and I've had some pretty good sized trout on them and put some good pressure on them, and I haven't had any of them fail yet. But if you want to be on the safe side, you can actually put some super glue on there. For the body, I'm just gonna tie in some of this white pearlescent chenille. One of the learning curves I did with these sculpin helmets is you don't want to wind this stuff too close to the eye of the hook. If you get it too close, you just start getting super crowded with it. So actually give yourself plenty of room. Almost kind of seems like you're stopping about the mid shank, but when you get done with the fly, it fits on just about perfect. So. Alright, I always remember the original double bunnies being yellow and white. People usually been using it for catching really big brown trout. So in Alaska, you don't see too much streamer patterns with a lot of yellow in it. So I started kind of tying some of them just to see how they would do. You know, we don't have brown trout up here. But it just seems like that combo between yellow and white, the fish really like, and been doing real well with them. So kind of stick with the original pattern, and that's this honey badger is kind of just like a spin-off of a double bunny / Dalai Lama type fly. Before I tie them both on, I usually just measure them both up so I know that they're the same length. So after I get my 2 pieces of rabbit strip, I usually just cut a little triangle in the tip of them, and they tie on a little bit better to the hook. With a regular rabbit hair, it's not too bad, but with these Magnum strips, they want to pull to one side or the other if you don't kind of give them kind of a fulcrum to sit on. So I'll tie the white on the other underside of the fly. Flip it around, put the yellow on the top. And that's typically when you make streamers. Obviously the darker side goes on top and the lighter side goes on the bottom, kind of represent the belly from the back. It's a really good high water fly as well. And just to kind of add on to it a little bit, I usually just throw one little strip of the saltwater crinkle flash on there. Been kind of messing around with bigger and smaller type flash on there, and it seems like if you just this one little strip of crinkle flash on each side, really catches the light good when it hits just perfect. Get one side and the other one on the other. Alright, so once you get those guys on there, just kind of pull them tight. So they're all about the same length. Okay, I usually put some pretty good, just a thread, kind of a platform for your sculpin head. Kind of build it up a little bit. I'll whip finish this guy. And you need your sculpin helmet. I usually just measure it on there just to make sure it's going to fit on there good. It's going to sit just like that. As you can see, that's just about the perfect. We stop the fly real short, and by the time this head comes on there, it basically lines up just perfect. A little bit of super glue. It's cool with these sculpin heads there too. They actually have a keel underneath them. Kind of keeps the head right and true. So once you put a little super glue on there, slide this guy on there as well. And then to finish the fly, you just want to wrap a little bit of thread on the front here to kind of make a nose dam so it won't pop off the front. These sculpin heads are also designed that you can actually put them on tube flies too as well. So if you don't want to use a hook shank, you can actually put them on tube flies too. They're actually designed for that too, so it's pretty good multi-purpose, almost kind of like a evolution of the cone head here. Getting pretty crazy with some of the stuff they're coming up with. And with this guy, if you build up the body like I did right here, it actually on the front holds a real big profile. So you got this flat head, this big profile body right where the throat and the gills are, and then she just tapers out real smooth at the end there. So it actually looks like a big meaty chunk of bait fish to eat. The head's actually pretty heavy on it, so it gets down pretty quick as well. She swims real good through the water column. And then once you get done with that, we'll just end up putting on a trailer hook here. Again, I usually use like a number 4 Gamakatsu. The only thing you want to remember is the sculpin sits like this, and you have the option to make your hook ride upright on these on this firewire. So if you put it on this way, it's going to snag a lot more stuff. If you put it so the hook point is facing up, seems to snag less stuff, especially if you're getting real low, close to the bottom. And again, with these things, it's really easy. If you start banging your hook up on whatever, heavy streamers, are not the easiest thing to cast. So one of the good things about having this trailer hook here is that you can switch out hooks. So if you're banging the hook on the rocks or the bottom or something like that, you can switch it out, because honey badger don't care if he bangs up a couple hooks or not. Like I said, I really like the yellow and white kind of double bunny type style flies. It's kind of what the double bunny was originally like for a big brown trout. So Just kind of been modifying this fly over the last couple of years as well. I really like the sculpin helmets that came in there. Before, I used to just put a big like a cross-eyed cone on there and stuff as well. And then of course the new the hook shanks. So I usually use this fly basically for high water situations. When it gets kind of dirty out, you throw a big fly. It's got a little bit flash on it. Sinks down really good through the water column, and spring runoff, early summer when the waters are still pretty high. I like this size and length of fly. People sometimes use a lot smaller flies. I like to use big flies. I like to use big streamers, and you get a lot of real aggressive hits from them as well. So that 3.5, 4 inch long fly seems to be just, they'll hit them all day long up north with these things. So hopefully they'll do as good for you guys in your local waters. So I'm Dave, and thanks for watching Cross Current TV. We'll catch you on the next episode.
At Cross Current TV, we want to hear from you. We'll take your questions and ideas posted to our Facebook or YouTube pages and use them for future episodes. And click here to check out the trailer for our first fly fishing adventure movie, Cast Alaska, available now on DVD.
This is the honey badger. Check him out swimming in slow motion. Watch out, says that fish.